Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So Americans want to be safe, but in just 100 days, the Trump administration has started to round up people with no criminal record, move them so that even their families and lawyers have no idea where they are, and deport them even after a court has said not to. That is not making our nation safer. Now, Mr. Scott, if confirmed as Customs and Border Protection Commissioner, you will decide whether to continue or to reverse these very troubling trends. So I want to understand what policies you would follow. Last month, ICE transported Kilmar Abrego Garcia and more than 100 others to El Salvador after a court ordered they not be removed. Concerns also have been raised about whether CBP is deporting people in violation of court orders. So let me start there. Mr. Scott, will it be your policy as CBP Commissioner to deport people in violation of court orders?
No, ma'am, I don't follow court orders.
That's what I like to hear. So let's try another one. Last month, CBP reportedly searched the phone of a French scientist at a Houston airport and reportedly found text messages criticizing President Trump's research policies and then denied him entry. Mr. Scott, will it be your policy as CBP Commissioner to deny entry to travelers because they criticize Donald Trump?
In my experience, that doesn't happen. In my experience, there's always more.
That's not my question. My question is, will it be your policy that if someone criticizes Donald Trump, that they will be denied entry to the United States of America?
No, and I do not believe that happened today either.
All right, but you will make sure that is not the policy that CBP follows. Is that right?
If confirmed, that's correct.
All right, let's do one more. Lawyers and loved ones are finding CBP to be a black box that detains people and refuses to tell anyone where they are for hours, sometimes for days. For example, 2 U.S. citizen children and their immigrant mother were detained by CBP for 3 days without being able to communicate with legal counsel or anyone in their family. They reported feeling, quote, kidnapped. Mr. Scott, you said you care about transparency. Will it be your policy for CBP agents to detain a family and prevent them from speaking with counsel or their families for days?
That is not the policy of CBP, and if confirmed, that would not be my policy.
All right. And will you commit to letting the public know within hours, not days, when someone is in CBP custody and where they are located, the same way that ICE does?
I've learned to not overcommit to something that I can't follow through on. I commit to transparency and sharing that information consistent with law and policy as quickly as possible. But CBP is slightly different. It's an interdiction. There's a processing. We don't have detention facilities, so a lot of times they're taken somewhere else. There are time delays. And the generality of within hours, as soon as possible, I will commit to, but I can't commit to a specific timeline because it changes in different parts of the country depending on where the individual is encountered.
So are you telling me that literally it can be days before CBP understands that they've got someone and to let that person be able to call a family member so they're not frantically wondering what happened to them?
So under the last administration and the chaos that was created, the answer to your question was yes. The people being arrested were so backed up that in many cases it was taking CBP officers and Border Patrol agents days just to get to them to do basic processing.
And in the meantime, none of them were permitted to make a phone call.
We didn't know who they were.
So you can't let them make a phone call to just tell their family where there is or find a lawyer if that's what they think.
I believe there was
need?
over 15,000 of them in one day. There wasn't time. It was about officer safety. It was about keeping people safe and keeping them safe because it's not just 15,000 families. There were criminals mixed in there. There were gang members mixed in there. There were cartel members mixed in there. And all the officers and agents, when we create this chaos, have to deal with all that and keep people safe so it gets delayed. Today, we don't have that problem because the Trump administration's created policies that have deterred all that massive chaos on the border from crossing. So those calls will take place quicker. because
So-
we actually have time to
So
get
if
that.
the Trump administration has ended all the chaos,
The Trump
then
administration is dramatic.
Is there a reason that you cannot commit to let people be able to reach out to their families within hours of being detained by CBP?
I will
You've said
confirm
you've
it.
got that chaos under control now.
I will confirm that if confirmed as commissioner, my commitment to you is we'll let them make that call as quickly as reasonably possible with the other factors that I just outlined for you.
Well, you know, the questions I ask are really straightforward, and I'm very worried about what's happening now, denying people entry because they criticize Donald Trump. I'm worried about the feeling that people have been disappeared, including mothers with children, for days on end. And I'm concerned that while I appreciate that you are making commitments to do your best here, that we really are going to need continued oversight to make sure that this happens. Targeting people who have never committed a crime, but who are now terrified that the United States government is going to remove them from their families without any legal help, take them off our streets or out of our airports, is not only wrong, it is not making us safer. I apologize for going over, Mr. Chairman.